Hey, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal Podcast. Happy Monday, July 14th. New week, already busy this week as well. It's only Monday. But I hope everyone enjoyed their weekend. And again, like I said, I got a great show coming up and a real great guest. So I'm not going to keep her waiting. But hit my intro. Let's get it. All right. Once again, welcome to another great episode and new week of the Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harding. Glad to be back with another great week of guests. And like I said, I have someone in the waiting in the wings. So I'm gonna get right to her in a few. But before we get started, you can follow the show on all the podcast platforms, whether it's Spotify, Apple, YouTube. We're on BS3 Network, BS3TVLive.com, BS3 Network, Roku channel, so iHeartRadio, so wherever you consume podcasts, you can get it on all those platforms. And you can follow me on all the social media platforms. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky. I think that's all of them. I think that's all the ones I use. So, but yeah, you can get those kind of the Real Deal with Courtney Hardin, or you can just follow me at Courtney Hardin and you will see all the shows and everywhere else. You have any questions or want to be a guest, so you can hit me up there. So I am very excited to have my next guest here, Brittany Fan, pro golfer of Epson Tour, All-American Pac-12. Also LPGA certified teaching pro, content creator. She does a little bit of everything, and we're going to get to know her quite well. So welcome to the show, Brittany. Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to chat a little bit and just have people get to kind of know me and my journey and get to know you better too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Again, thank you for, as always, when we were talking by email and before we started recording, thank you for doing this. Really appreciate it. And I've been following you for a while, and you can follow Brittany on Instagram. It'd be fantastic. I love it. The play of the word of your name. Yes. So follow her on Instagram there, and follow her journey there. But again, I really appreciate you coming on. And let's get started. So the first question I always ask my first time guests that come on: who is Brittany Fan, and how did you get into? We'll start from the beginning. How did you just go a quick intro? Who is Brittany Fan?
Well, I'm an island girl at heart, born and raised in Hawaii.
Okay,
and I, luckily was fortunate enough to have options when it came to college. So I ended up going to Colorado Buffaloes, Go Buffs.
Yes.
College. And then I turned pro and played golf out of Scottsdale, Arizona, and that's kind of where I'm based right now.
Okay,
but interesting. It's been a good journey. I didn't start golf until 12, which is very late for golf. Yeah, because most people start, I would say, like between 3 to 6 years old.
Yeah.
Before that, I was doing singing, dancing, wanted to go try out for Disney Channel. So just totally different track. And then golf happened.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, a couple of things there. You said, from Hawaii, and it's really interesting. Me and my wife are going to Hawaii in August next month for our anniversary, our 20th year anniversary. So we're excited there. So I might hit you up on just certain things what to expect and look for Hawaii. So I'll hit you up after the show. So for sure. But how was that? Like, how is it growing up in Hawaii, and how was the, getting into sports from, like you said, as an island girl from Hawaii?
Yeah. Hawaii is a very tight-knit community. So typically you see a lot of baseball, football, and golf, I'd say, are like the big three out there. Surfing, yes. But, 3 main sports. And I kind of got into it kind of just playing from island to island, local tournaments, that kind of thing. And then eventually I spread out to the mainland, because that's what we call it. But that's how you kind of get recruited. But growing up in Hawaii was very unique. It's a very diverse place. It's really centered on like culture and traditions and respect for the Aina, which is basically the land. So I think it just, everyone is uncle and auntie there, and it just makes you a very friendly welcoming, community, aloha spirit person.
Okay. All right. Yeah. It's good to, because you said everywhere's different. Different sports from different cities and states. Sometimes, like I said, the South is usually football. SEC nation,
Yeah.
and now it's coming basketball too now, but other sports as well. But softball is big in SEC nation and things like that. And you got the East Coast where I'm from. Originally from upstate New York and then Philadelphia. Now I live in Philly. Like I said, it's all sports really: football, baseball, basketball, so everything too. So I always find it interesting from different places where like some of the sports are more popular than others.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say anything outdoors in Hawaii. It's 70s and 80s.
Yeah, right. Yeah, year round, right? Okay.
But I mean, even being, I guess, growing up and playing golf in Hawaii, it was still ultra competitive. I would say my year, give or take 3 years either way, was like the very, very kind of competitive zone of golfers.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got a couple of tour players from Hawaii as well. One of the girls that I know from Hawaii just won the US Open, I want to say 2 years ago. But yeah, we grew up playing golf together. So
yeah, for sure. And like you said, now you say you're a pro golfer. But before we get into your pro golf career and how that all transpired, talk about, you said you're singing. Are you still singing? I know you said that you did it as a kid and when you're younger. But are you do you still sing, or do you miss it or anything like that?
I mean, I've always liked music. If you count singing in the shower and singing in the car and practicing, then yeah. But it's like anything, you just don't practice it for a while. You eventually lose a little bit of it in terms of like reach and a little bit of control. But yeah, I still sing by myself.
Okay. We'll leave it there. As you said, you had dreams of maybe singing with Disney and things like that. So that's funny.
Once golf happened, I mean, that pretty much took over my life.
That took over your life. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you have that. So now you said golf, you said 12 years old. And where did that love come from? With golf, you said usually you said you start out as younger, but you started at 12 and now you've become a pro golfer. But talk about a little bit of your golf journey.
I mean, so how it happened was actually crazy. So I had a golfing family, but I was the only non-golfer. And what happened was I went with my dad to pick up my brother from practice one day. And I grabbed a golf club and I was kind of just fooling around in the driving range, taking some swings, and his coach walked over. Basically gave me a couple pointers and I started striping the ball. And pretty much from that point, I got hooked.
Okay. All right.
Look back after that.
Yeah.
And, I knew that when I was starting at 12, I was like, okay, I obviously want to play college golf and I want to go beyond that. But, it's going to take I'm starting late. I got 6 years to get it together before college time and kind of just work on my craft. So yeah, I worked really hard for those couple of years before college. I ended up going to kind of like a golf school, golf academy, but it wasn't one of those academies that you kind of just sign up and go into. Okay. It was basically like the Juilliards, but for golf on Hawaii. Okay. And so the coach was very good. Like he taught a lot of discipline and good values and hard work ethic, all that. But it was also a little bit extreme. That, you'd see a lot of kids come and go and drop out just because you had to sign a contract. And it was so that you would understand as a kid coming in, okay, this is the dedication and commitment that it's going to take. So I started out doing that program part-time, and then I eventually moved into full-time. And yeah, I started training insane amounts, 6 days a week. And even on my off day, Sunday, I'd still go to the golf course for half a day. And then interesting part of my journey. And I know it's a little bit more common now when you see kids coming up out of school, but when I was going to high school, not very common. I was sitting in trigonometry class one day and I was so bored and I was staring out the window and I was like, man, I could be at the golf course right now. A light bulb go off and I'm like, I could be at the golf course. So what I ended up doing is I went to my guidance counselor, I went to my principal, and long story short, I told him, I was like, here's where I'm at, here's where I want to go. And in order to do that, I need more time to work on my craft and get better because I just started so late that initially when you start golf, a lot of it is, muscle memory and training the foundational stuff. Right. So they gave me a deal and I was able to take the last year and a half of school off and be homeschooled. But that allowed me I was at the course from like 7 to 7. It allowed me to travel, without missing school because technically I was homeschooled at that point. Yeah. So it gave me a lot more flexibility. And yeah, I think I just got very good in that last year and a half, and everything fell together.
Oh wow, no, that's really good. That's great. That's a great journey of just like you said, you just wanted to go for it. You say, okay,
Yeah.
even though I'm starting late, but I'm going to keep working hard at it. And I think it's for people that are watching, they can learn from that too. As something you wanted to pursue and continue to pursue, and you kept working at it, and you needed the time actually to do it, and there you were able to get that last year and a half to be homeschooled and have more time on the golf course, and just perfecting a craft, and then later on becoming an All-American Pac-12 player as well. So talk about that as well. Congratulations on that, becoming
Thank
All-American.
you.
That's always having that on your resume is tremendous. Being an All-American athlete, athlete. So talk about the journey of that.
Well, I got into college my first year, and I absolutely loved Colorado. I had a great time with my coaches and with the team, and obviously we performed well as the years went on. But it was a little bit of a transition initially, right? Coming from homeschooling, going to my freshman year, it was like, okay, all of a sudden now I've got school, I've got a limited amount of time to practice. So what's interesting is what that actually taught me is how can I go from practicing 10 to 12 hours a day to condensing it into only 3 to 4 hours a day, but still be just as productive. And that's a major thing that I picked up during college. But I do remember after my freshman year, they were giving out awards, and that's what the Pac-12 awards were, right? For All-American. Yeah. And I told my coaches, I said, what is that? And they're like, oh, that's an award, All-American this, All-American that. And I was like, what is it for? And they're like, oh, it's the top players and the top performing, athletes. And because I didn't know anything about that coming into college. And I kind of looked at them and I was like, I want that. I'm going to get that. And, it took a couple of years, but I finally got it my senior year. And yeah, it's something I'm really proud of. I think we had a great team the senior year too. I mean, 3 of us, I think, were top 35 college players. So internally within the team, we also had, healthy motivating factors. Like, of course we were friends, but we also wanted to play number one on the team.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think it was a great combination of just leadership and coaching and being in the right environment.
That's cool. That's excellent. Like you said, when you see All-American for any athlete, it's like, okay, they're one of the best athletes and at that year or whatever. So yeah, just seeing the All-American title, I'm sure. So congrats on that. You said even just doing it in your last year in Colorado, that's tremendous. So yeah, congrats on that. And then now move forward. Become a pro golfer and everything. So like you said, that was your dream when you said you picked up that golf club and said, okay, 12 years old, now I want to be a pro golfer. So talking that journey now from the All-American Pac-12 to now being a pro golfer.
So, I had my coaches tell me and I had mentors telling me like, hey, the transition going, whether it's from any level, right? Junior to collegiate to pro, but specifically collegiate to pro, it's going to be a little bit of a big one. You're going to get the lonely factor hit. You're going to have, now you have to do everything on your own. Now you're playing for your living. So I will say anyone that says that it's a smooth transition is lying. Like it's definitely a little bit of a slap in the face. For me, it was really hard because I came from having all my friends around me in Colorado within 10 minutes, to moving to Arizona where I knew one person. And anytime you move, it's just, you get a little homesick. You're like, okay, I gotta figure out the area, figure out, find my tribe, find my people. And also like, how do I maintain being a 20-something-year-old, but at the same time pursuing a career as a pro athlete? Because the lifestyle is so different. So, I mean, I had a little bit of a difficulty, I would say, making friends. I'm still in my 20s, but initially in my 20s, just because, it's not the typical route that most 20-year-olds take. So, I'm not out partying Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then like, hey, I can just take a random trip, next week in the middle of the season to go do this and go do that. It's just a little bit more structured and a lot more dedication. The transition for me personally, and I know everybody's different. Some people kind of just get it quick. Some people kind of go up and down, and some people just, they like it. And then they're like, nope, this is not for me. I've seen it all.
Yeah, right.
For me personally, I would say that I've kind of gone full circle at this point where I came out and I put a lot of pressure on myself. Most of it self-induced pressure, but just pressure from a mixture of things, expectations from other people, sponsors, expectations from myself. So just, you kind of got a lot of things going on. And for me, don't get me wrong, I like pressure, but it's got to be the right kind of pressure, right?
Right. Okay.
But if it's the right kind of pressure.
Yeah.
So I think I struggled a little bit with that transition of doing it for a living. And also you come from a team environment in college, right? And now you're kind of just on your own. So I didn't really pair up with anybody. I did all my travel and all my stuff by myself. And so that was also a little weird, a little lonely. But the professional grind has been interesting. I mean, some stuff I expected, some stuff I didn't. Didn't quite expect, I would say, number one, the lonely factor to be that, in your face. Because there's a lot of things that I would say that I've given up as a 20-something-year-old. Like I've had to miss, some of my best friends, like bachelorette parties, some of their weddings, some monumental things. Hey, I want to go take this trip with some buddies. Let's go to Italy or whatever. I mean, I've had to say no to a lot of things just so I could stay on top of what I'm doing. So I think it gets a little bit harder as you come out of college and you become a young adult and you want to do all these things. But at the same time, it's like, well, what's kind of my priority right now? So that was a little bit hard. But the professional grind, I would say it's a love-hate relationship.
It's
awesome because so many people would kill to do what you do, just be out of the office and be on the golf course and interact with fans and do media stuff and all that, which is great. But I think a lot of people also don't see the behind the scenes grind, which is 80% of it. But I've found, and I kind of hate to say this, I got into a car accident actually last season. I had somebody T-bone their car into me, and I've kind of just grind and come back from that. So I was out last season. It took even a couple of months to even start kind of moving again.
Right. Wow. Well, glad that you survived that car accident, because that's your life was like, oh Jesus. So, oh man, sorry to hear
throw
that.
Everything kind of like off plan a little bit, but I hate to say it. It almost kind of, if I look at the positives from that, it almost kind of shocked me in a way that I was starting to get a little bit of frustration and a little bit of resentment kind of towards the sport, I'd say in my third-ish year on tour.
Okay.
And that's kind of normal for athletes to have. You do hit a point, I think, where you get frustrated with the game and almost burnt out per se. But now I think after that, I've kind of looked at things with a different perspective. I'm just grateful to be out on the course. I'm grateful to have a good support system. For me personally, I'd say one of the biggest things that I've learned, because I sat there and I've compared myself. I said, how come I performed and played better during college when I had more going on versus as a professional when, golf is what I do. I have more trainers, more coaches. I'm in better shape. I have more time. Kind of like make it make sense. Something's not adding up here. And a little bit, I mean, you have to get real honest with yourself, but you learn a lot about yourself. And I kind of came to a realization for me, I can't be golf 24/7. Yes, golf is what I do, not who I am. So it's very hard for athletes, I think, to separate their kind of self-worth and their value from how they perform on the course. I mean, it's what you spend most of your time doing. So it's easy to get kind of sucked into that. But yeah, I've been lucky and fortunate to have great parents, great friends, great mentors that kind of have been helping me throughout my career. And obviously some of it you have to learn yourself and mature. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm trying to make my way back and grind.
Well, yeah, that's I mean, that's a journey. As you said, just you giving the real of what it takes and what you go through and a lot of people won't know, like don't know what it takes. And we, as as outsiders, we kind of just see what's on TV and performance on whatever is on the course or on the field or whatever it is, or the court, that you just see that, but it's the behind the scenes that I think that I like that you talked about that as well. You said being lonely, and I saw that you had talked about this on a previous podcast about playing consistently or overcoming that imposter syndrome and pressure, as you said, like how to handle that pressure, and it's more of having a good support system too. As you said, you have your family and friends and others, and you probably can and maybe lean on other athletes too. But you said this is it's not a team sport. It's a single sport, single athlete sport. So I'm sure it does get, and I've heard that too from a lot of athletes just watching and listen to interviews and things like that. It does get lonely on the road, and it's just you and yourself and battling the course. I'm sure that
that's
takes
that's golf. It's all you.
Yeah, it's all you. Right. One of my other questions would be, like you said, talk about the pressure, but more on top of the mental aspect of it too. How what would you say is it? What percentage is it mental? And for sure, you got athletic ability and all those things too. But what would you say is it more mental in golf than it is just athletic ability and other aspects?
I think when you get to a certain point physically where, I guess for me, I would say, you consistently have the same swing, everyone hits the ball, everyone can putt the ball. When you get to that level, it definitely becomes more mental than physical at that point.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not crazy to have psychologists or a therapist or do mental work. I actually did do some mental training my senior year of college. And I think, it works for some people, but not everybody. But for the most part, it can't hurt you. But I think I remember I went to this 1-week camp where all we did was work on the mental side of the game. I didn't even touch the technical part of the game. And I came back, and the coaches, I didn't tell anyone that I did this. And the coaches kind of asked me, about a month or two into the season, they're like, something's different. So they're like, did you do something, over the break, or did you see a new coach, or like, what the heck? And then that's kind of when I told them, I was like, oh yeah, my mom and I were kind of looking, and she thought it would be a good idea to kind of work on what people really don't focus on, because you're so focused on sport performance all the time, which is the mental side. And I ended up going to a program called Vision 54, and I worked with, the instructors there for a week, and I took what I needed at the time and did what worked for me, and it made a world of a difference. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I'm sure. And then that's it. Like, having those sports psychologists and all those things too. I'm sure it's much needed, because mental health has been a big topic in sports especially over the last 5, 6, 7 years. And you're right, you got to have that physical and mental aspect of it. And I'm sure you said it goes, those waves go up and down, and you talked about that, not loving the game anymore, or kind of just having that love-hate relationship part of the game as well. So how do you avoid it? You did talk about that before, but how do you avoid that golf burnout and getting into go through a slump? But how do you avoid those things of not loving the game anymore and then coming back to and mentally recharging?
So I'm a big fan of meditation and journaling, and the only way you can actually grow, like both on and off the golf course, because growing off the golf course directly impacts how you are as a player on the course. I mean, you just got to sit down and get real honest with yourself, which is what I did. I sat there, and the reason you're by yourself is because you don't want any outside, opinions and expectations. Because when you know yourself the best, like you've seen yourself in all aspects, when you're at your highs, when you're at your lows. So really, you can't lie to yourself when you're sitting down. And so for me, I like to, what they say is get grounded. I like to go outside in nature, whether that's like going on a hike or sitting on the grass at a park, whatever, just be outside and kind of have nature going. And I like to sit down and reflect and kind of remember, why did I start golf? When you asked me that question, why did I start golf? And I've had to do this more than a couple times. And I sat there and I thought to myself, Britt, take away all the superficial things, okay? Take away the expectations from people, opinions from people, thoughts about money, thoughts about this, and really get down to why did I start? Because as a 12-year-old, when I started golf, I didn't think about any of this external stuff.
Right.
So for me, it's just, okay, I started golf because I purely love the game. I enjoy the challenge. I enjoy the hard work that it takes. I enjoy that feeling of accomplishment. So for me, it's just going back and remembering my why. But then also a new one, which I'm really trying to prioritize this year, is we're so conditioned, and I guess it just depends how you grow up, but majority of people, we're so conditioned to just be like boom, 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 boom. Athletes
on the go.
Yards, 2 yards, what you do 24/7, and you have no time to basically have balance in the pie. And I mean, I grew up hearing like, okay, if you're trying to be an elite athlete, there is no balance. Like it's all or nothing kind of thing. And it is all or nothing, but to a certain point.
Yeah.
As I've gotten older the last couple of years, I've kind of realized the importance for me of having a balanced pie. So I can still work hard and be focused when I'm at the golf course. But when I'm done with practice for the day, like I leave work at work. I don't bring golf home and, talk with my parents or whoever, or another 2 hours talking about the golf course. It's like, no, golf is golf. Then when I come home, I do some me time stuff. I like to work out and go to the gym if I can, if the body allows, and, just do stuff that I like. I like to shop. I like to watch movies. I like to bake. I like to, balance out the pie a little bit.
Yeah, definitely need balance, as you said. The mental draining and as you said, it's the grind in itself. But you're like, hey, you got to take some time for yourself, because you're on your best when you are mentally, physically, just in that right place, because now you can't perform at your best. I'm sure that's that we're all learning that daily, and I'm sure you gotta have that balance, and just being able to say, hey, okay, I want to do this, I want to do something different, and but you're right, just to have you make sure your mental and physical is right. You won't be able to perform your best when it's not. So I've learned that too. I burnt out from the podcast before, mental burnout. But now these days I take time away. I'll take a few days, sometimes a week, 2 weeks. I'm like, hey, this is I'm not going to be able to perform my best with it, because again, I had the same thing. It's like, I'm gonna not be able to do this until my peak. And it's different from golf, of course, but not gonna be able to perform my peak. But you gotta have that mental, the mental's gotta be right so you can perform for sure. So all right, I wanted to ask you about some insight on your training and preparation when you get onto the golf course. Talk about that. Take us inside. What's the preparation for Brittany Fan, when the training and preparation as you get when you get on the course?
Yeah. So it's interesting because it's changed the first couple of years versus now, I would say. And it's kind of the same thing. I don't know who we hear it from or if it's just self-expectation, but you kind of initially, when I came out and turned pro, the thought was, okay, I got to be at the golf course 10 to 12 hours a day, because that's what the best in the world are doing. I got to spend at least this much time doing this much time doing that. And, unfortunately for me, I switched through different coaches every year, which is never a good thing in this sport. Too much tinkering. And it's not that I don't, appreciate the coaches, and it's not that I don't think they were knowledgeable at the time. But for me, I had to sit down, after Q school this past year and kind of say, okay, Britt, this is not working. When did I play my best? So I played my best my senior year of college, working with my college coaches. So as of about a month ago, I started going back and seeing them and really going back to how I was playing senior year, which is very simplified. So I think the way I approach it now when I go to practice, it's same kind of thing when I first went to college. It's your focus should be less on how long am I practicing, and it should be more on, okay, what am I actually improving on? Because I could stand there for 6 hours and get nothing done and be like, yeah, I went to the putting green for 6 hours. But then it's like, well, did you actually improve on anything? Did anything get better? Is it, is it showing in the stats? Is it showing in your mental? Is it showing on whatever you're recording to see improvement? And so I used to be so heavily focused on like, okay, I got to go to the golf course. I got to spend 8 hours there. If I'm not working hard enough. Whereas now I approach it as, okay, I don't care how long it takes me, whether it's 2 hours or 5 hours. Did I accomplish what I set for the goal for the day? And did I actually improve? And that is the only thing I focus on. And I try really hard not to, because everyone has an opinion and there's so much noise and so much stuff going on. Like, you're not practicing long enough. You don't do enough putting. And it's really like one of those things, like, can you really take advice and opinions from people that aren't in your position? Not really. That's kind of how I'm approaching it now. But the goal for when you practice is, number one, focusing on improvement. Number two, collecting stats that give you constructive criticism and something that you can compare to, like, am I getting better or am I not?
Right.
And then 3, when I apply it to the course, because at the end of the day, you can practice as much as you want on the putting green and the chipping green and the range, but to actually move it to the golf course, that's where simplifying it comes in. And something that my coach has always emphasized, and he's so good at it, is if he always tells me, if you could focus on just one thing that would improve the overall aspect of your game and make the biggest improvement for you, what would it be? Because, you see a lot of people go out on the course and they have 4 different swing thoughts. And I'm like, I don't know how you guys get a split second with 4 swing thoughts. So for me, I really try to focus on one thing at a time, the biggest thing, and work on improving that.
I like that. No, it's like you said, simplifying it. And I'm sure that's a good way to look at it. You said that you're always working on aspects of your game and everything to improving each day, just to continue to get better and everything too. So yeah, that's a good advice too for anyone that wants to try to get into golf. If they want to, if you want to improve, just simplify it. Simplify. And you said you went back to your college coaches and said, "Hey, I just want to continue to work on my game. This is where I played at my best." And you realize they say, "I want to get back to that level, even better." And I think that's the first step too. It seemed like to improve your game as well. So yeah, I like that. All right, just got a few more. Before I let you go, let's talk about golf fashion, and it's changed over the years. And you do so much in the golf fashion, and also the content creating aspect of it as well. Talk about how the golf fashion has changed. What do you say is your fashion sense, what it's like, and how much content creation, because I know there's a lot of a lot of great content creators out in the golf space as well. But talk about that, the content creation and your golf fashion.
Yeah. So with content creation, and I always keep telling myself this, I'm like, dang, I should have started this in college or right out of college. The amount that it's blown up is kind of crazy.
Right.
And I just thought, when I first turned pro, it was really hard to maintain both, performance in your sport while also trying to figure out, okay, but how do I start building my brand and growing my content? Right. So I struggled with that for a little bit. But yeah, no, I took a little bit of a break and I just came back to it. And it's one of those things, again, where I sat down and I said to myself, who am I posting for? Like, what am I posting? What do I want to show the world? Because oftentimes you feel a lot of pressure of what you should post and what you think you should post and how you should come off. But at the end of the day, I kind of realized, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try to be my most real and authentic self. And whoever wants to join along can join along. And whoever doesn't want to, doesn't want to. And, it doesn't really bother me with the amount of views or likes or shares that you get. I'm just happy being my most authentic self. So that's kind of my motto moving forward with that.
Yeah.
In terms of golf fashion, I think, there's a lot of brands out there, but I don't know if there's been one brand that I could confidently say that has kind of nailed what I would say is a mix of fashion and function. And when I say function, I mean, it doesn't even matter if you're a pro or an avid golfer or a beginner. I mean, function is function when you're trying to swing a golf ball, right? You got to be able to move, and there's got to be pockets and certain things for a golfer. And I think because obviously I'm in it, I kind of know what you need for designs. I've seen a lot of new fashion companies pop up recently. And it's kind of been great to see because we're spinning up the traditional, kind of what used to be just like preppy 60-year-old grandma skirt and stuff. And now you see a lot more unique designs. And for me, I kind of like a mix of the cute, kind of girly, but also athletic look.
Okay.
I kind of change it up on my mood.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still kind of like, I work with PXG right now. So I'm wearing all PXG stuff, but I have also seen quite a few brands that are also bringing out new lines and just completely new companies that are coming out that want to spin up the golf fashion industry, which is great. So many good ideas.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of just in general, like you said, a lot of golf, just new brands, new fashion trends and things like that. It is amazing to see, especially in the content creation space and branding and everything too, how much golf fashion has changed just over the last few years. Like you said, it used to be the old tradition, but
Yeah.
now it's so much different. You see a lot of like I said, a lot of different brands and trends and different things. So yeah, I see your golf fashion, and you just did that. It's excellent. It's like you just said, you do really you said it's functional, but you said you really want to be able to move, it's athletic, but you said you still want to be fashionable too out there.
Yeah. And I'll always keep it real. I'll be like, listen, guys, this one works or it doesn't work. Like, I'm not going to post about something that I wouldn't wear personally.
Right.
I've had outfits where I put it on and I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I'm not, hey, this is a cute outfit if it's not functional. Mm-hmm. And hey, you know what? That was actually something maybe down the road that I was kind of planning, like my Be Fantastic logo. I have that trademark. That's my college nickname. Mm-hmm. That was a possible idea down the road for fashion and function, kind of combining the two. But I think what's also cool is the USGA kind of just released a post, I want to say about a month ago. And they said, the percentage of female golfers has increased to like 29% or 30% of golfers, which is huge, which means more girls are wanting to golf, which is great for growing the sport. But at the same time, I think, women love fashion. I think more of us are looking for, okay, what options do we have to choose from? What fits our style? You want to be able to personalize it. So I think maybe eventually down the road, I could probably start possibly a company of my own, or maybe partner with another brand and make a line. But I think one of the biggest things that I see besides the fashion and the function mix is the price point. I mean, golf is a very expensive sport and you want to make it accessible to everybody. But even me, like, you look at a dress and it's like, oh, that's cute. And you look it up online and it's like $375 for that. It's cute, but it's not that cute.
Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, I kind of want to balance that. How can I make a brand that it doesn't come off as cheap? It would be more affordable, but it also, keeps the elegance, keeps the sportiness, still has good quality, still has function, that kind of thing. Yeah. And that would kind of be my goal down the road.
All right. Well, looking forward to that. And just to see, you said fashionable and functional, and also you said affordable. I mean, that's always a big thing when it comes to just fashion in itself. We're always looking forward to it. Things can get expensive, especially in the clothing industry for sure. But so we look forward to that. And you have your brand, and you said you can partner with other brands. So look forward to that as well. Just two more. Kind of want to hit on a little bit what you just said about women in golf and the growth of it. Like you said, you're a big part of it as well. How do you see that? Seeing that the growth of women in golf and more young girls getting into golf and everything. What would you say on the growth and the trajectory of women in golf?
I think it's awesome because typically it's been a very male-dominated sport. And I've even noticed it myself. Like if I go to the golf course or whatever, you'll see it's like 90% guys. So as a female athlete, I'm like, that's awesome. More girls are getting into it. And it's not just, I know that everyone doesn't want to be at pro level, but there's so many benefits to playing golf. I mean, you make a lot of connections, you make a lot of friends. It's a great way to be physical without feeling like a workout. And, it's character building. And golf is something, unlike other sports, you can do this until you're pretty much like 80 or 90.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not when you're shooting, but you can still be active out there and have fun. So I think it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And I love seeing it. Like you said, I see the content creation too. On top of that, it's growing with women in golf as well. So I love to see that. So all right. So the last one I'm asking is, what's your most pivotal moment of your career that you knew you could compete at the highest level?
It's funny because I was just talking about this the other day, and the crazy part, it's not even when I was a pro golfer. It was my senior year of college. We played our regional championships out at Harding Park in San Francisco. And I remember, I was kind of in what we call the zone, just very flowing, letting things happen naturally. And, I would walk into tournaments saying like, okay, I know I'm going to finish top 20. That amount of confidence and self-belief. It's like, I know I'm going to finish top 20. The question is, am I going to win this week or not? And that tournament specifically, it was a big deal for us. Every single year, freshman, sophomore, junior year, we missed nationals by one shot. I mean, that was kind of a funny nickname. We were the one-shot wonder team. And so this is kind of a big deal because it was my senior year and we had a great team, and a lot of good players. And I was like, this is the year to do it. And it came down to the last hole. And of course, nobody's going to tell you like, oh, you got to make this putt or you got to par this hole. It's like, I already know every shot counts. Like, trust me. So I got up to the last hole. I mishit my iron shot coming in. And I had about a 45 footer up 2 tiers. And I was like, okay, all you have to do is 2-putt. And I didn't even have to like talk to anybody because I could see everybody around the green, phones back and forth, tense looks and whispering and this and right. So I'm like, oh, this must be a pretty important putt. And I remember I putted it to about, 3.5, 4 feet, which you would say, I got that in the bag, whatever. I can close my eyes and putt it. But when you're under pressure with the green surrounded by people and, this may or may not be the putt to go to nationals, it's a little bit different. My entire, from my shoulder to my arms went numb. And that has never happened to me before. I literally could not feel my arms. And I'm like, okay. And I remember standing over the ball and I thought to myself, I said, Britt, I've done this putt 1,000 times. It's just another practice putt. You've made this so many times. You got this. And I stood over the ball and that was my only thought. I didn't think about stroke. I didn't think about speed. I didn't think about, making it to nationals, nothing. And I stood there and I made the putt and it went in. And for me, that was a very pivotal moment. I mean, I was okay, I know I can do it. I mean, I was leading the tournament individually with 9 holes to play. And I think I, maybe had a couple hiccups on the back nine. I think I finished like 6 individually for regionals. But just to kind of have, and I found out later after that putt was to secure our spot to nationals.
Oh, yes.
Finding that out after and also making a putt under that amount of pressure was so awesome. And I was like, I can do this. All right. I'm having fun. I'm performing. I mean, I can do it under pressure. I enjoy pressure. I like people watching. I like the crowd. I like everything about it. So I was like, okay, I think I can do this.
Yeah, that is a very pivotal moment for sure. Just he said that pressure. We talked about it earlier about that pressure, and depending on what type of pressure, you're like, okay, let me calm down, let me get this putt in, and you can accomplish that. And then you say you went to nationals right after that. That's amazing for sure. We got a couple shout outs here before we go. We got Nathan Ramasandra from Nathan Sports Rush. He said, "Hey Brittany," he said you do amazing work. And he said he connected with you yesterday when I promoted the show. So you got a couple fans and that's following you. No, continue with that as well. Oh, I got to ask you about your being the LPGA certified teaching pro. Talk a little about that. I gotta get into that. Yeah.
So kind of when I went back to that thing of like, oh, I can't be just professional golf all the time, 24/7. I started to venture out a little bit and be like, okay, what else can I do in my free time that'll kind of, add to my knowledge, add to my skills. And I also helped, coach a junior program at the golf course that I practice at. And I thought, you know what, it would be a good idea to get my LPGA teaching credentials. So I'm still in the process of finishing it up. I'm obviously on their timeline. So once I'm done with that, I'm good to go. Yeah. But it's been enjoyable because you've got a whole different level of people that are taking the course, from people that, kind of just barely know golf and are just getting into it and want to teach. And then people that are up to like pro level. And it's actually been a great refresher for me because even as a pro, you can still learn, nobody knows everything about golf. And it taught me that, even though I'm a good pro golfer, how can I be a good teacher? And it's different teaching somebody versus yourself. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it kind of just opened my eyes a little bit more. It taught me about like, okay, what are different learning styles? How do people learn best? You know what I mean? Yeah. What kind of communication, what kind of examples, what kind of feels can you give them that actually help them improve, not you? Because it's all about the student and the person you're working with. How can you bring value? How can you help them get better? And I know oftentimes, even for myself, sometimes you'll forget the basics, like gasp, grip, aim, stance, posture, right? Well, I even pick up some of the acronyms from what I've learned, and I'm like, okay, Britt, let me check it. My hitting's a little off today. Let me go through the steps.
Let me bring that to my game again. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just been another good thing for me.
It's a great thing. Yeah. It's always good to give back to, as you said, and teaching and in learning. When you do that too, you said, okay, yeah, bring it back to the basics. That's what you said you was doing. So I really get it. Like when I'm teaching, I'm really getting at the basics, and then, okay, I can implement that into my golf game as well too. So Brittany, this has been So much fun. I can't thank you enough for doing this and taking the time. We got the Open Championship coming up too this week, and if you had to pick one or two players who you think is going to win, to put you on the spot, who you think's gonna pull it together? I know it's not till early Thursday morning, but yeah, the Open Championship. If you had to pick one, who do you think could pull it off?
I'm trying to think of a player that's a grinder, because it's going to be an up and down tournament.
Right. Yes.
Somebody that can handle very difficult conditions. Ooh. Okay. I'm going to give coming well lately.
Oh, geez. Well, I mean, you got Scheffler, number one player. You got Roy. I've been here because I've been listening to a couple podcasts because I do a lot of DFS golf. So John Rahm, they really feel like he could be one of the favorites. So those are your top contenders.
I kind of want an underdog to win. Kind of like Chase Mon won that other tournament.
Yeah. So
grinding it out. Yeah, I don't know.
It's got to be a grinder. Hold on, let me. We talking about it. I've heard a few names. Let's see. Let me get into my DFS thing that we've been. Let's see.
Yeah, let's see. What is everyone talking about?
Yeah. All right, some names. I know that Xander. He's going to be in the mix, but these are some of the favorites. Matthew Fitzpatrick's been back on the. He's been back the last couple of weeks playing well. I mean, 4th, 8th, and 17th his last 3 tournaments. So he's a name I've heard. Ben Griffin, he's a sleeper as well. I know he missed a cut a couple weeks ago, but he took Scottish Open off, so he took that week off. I heard Adam Scott. So these are just a few names. Well, Ryan Fox, people have been saying he might actually be the one for someone that's down the board as a sleeper. He could be one too. So those are just some names I've heard so early so far. So.
Yeah. I was pulling for Adam Scott at that other tournament, but I was also so happy that JJ Spawn won.
JJ Spawn won, yeah.
Story. I mean, he was gonna quit. What was it, the year before?
Yeah, the year before. Yeah, he was gonna.
Yeah, and I know a lot of golfers get to that point, so it's like, great for him. Great break.
Right. Yeah, just got back into it and said, hey. Okay, and then he pulled that win off. Oh, Harry Hall, he's another one that's been playing excellent. Look at his finishes: 20 of 19, 6, 24 of 9, 13, 17. So that's
great.
What, 7 weeks top 25s or better? Yeah, geez.
That's the thing with golf, though. I mean, it's anybody's game that week.
Yeah. You get hot at the right time, and you can go on a streak. As well. So, but I wanted to put you on the spot since it is Open Championship week, but it's good to get your perspective on that as well. So, but thank you again, Brittany. I really appreciate it. Best of luck, many blessings with your, with everything on tour and the content and what you do and everything too. But let everyone know where they can follow you, ask you questions, want to reach out. Where they can or just want to like, subscribe to your brand and your social media pages as well.
Yeah, so you can find me at Be Fantastic, which is my college name, like we mentioned before.
Yep.
I am more than happy. I try to answer as many DMs or questions or comments as I can, and I just like helping people. I love the people that support me and women's golf and just want to get to know me more authentically. So I always appreciate you guys.
All right. Well, I thank you again. Thank you for doing this. I reached out and we put it together like within a week. So I was so glad to have you on and that we were able to do this. And I hope we can do this again in the future as well.
All right. Yeah. Nice talking to you.
All right. You too. Well, you enjoy the rest of the week. And thanks again. And I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
All right, have a good one.